Hello and welcome along to the start of season 14 from this FM22 One Club story with Hemel Hempstead Town with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 115. We are back for a summer transfer special, and for the second year in succession, we're back for a Community Shield final against Premier League champions Manchester United. We have the privilege of facing them because we beat them in last season's FA Cup final. We've won 3 domestic cup competitions in 2 seasons. However, we've not yet reached the top 4. We've never competed for a Premier League title, and we've never quite cracked it by winning anything in Europe. So we'll be hoping that we can do something new this year. Maybe it is the year we break into the Champions League. Maybe it is the year we can challenge for the Europa League. If you're looking forward to finding out and seeing what we've done this summer to prepare for it, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. Whilst there's a big season on the way here and many more yet to come, it might well be the final episode of the head coach story tomorrow. You'll get a good indicator as to why if you see yesterday's episode, which is up in the eye above. There's also links there to the Twitch channel, the football podcast, where there's loads of clips from non-league finals day at Wembley yesterday, and of course the merchandise store too. Please do check it out if you haven't already. Finally, you can support the show as a channel member by clicking the join button down below. But we have got a lot to get through here. Lots of money in the bank. Our final season renting Kenilworth Road, don't forget, before we move in to our new stadium in Hemel Hempstead. So this year is pretty important. We need to be in Europe of some form next season to help pay for the new stadium. We need to try and keep this squad together because there are 1 or 2 little murmurings now as our reputation has finally crept up to 4-star. And we've also got to try and keep that winning mentality. We're winning trophies now, despite it not being the big ones. We want to make sure we can continue to do that. So let's start with the summer transfer special, because that is always the key element of this save. Of course, the key bit which I mentioned is that we have now crept up to 4-star reputation. Seems to happen a bit later in the year this season for some reason. It's been happening throughout FM22. It happens in July time rather than in June with the season review. But we've got a professional personality squad. We've got the Europa League football again. And everything's looking pretty solid. You can see our media predictions 12th. They have us nowhere near that bottom end of the table. I'm not really sure why they don't have us higher than that. Because if we have a look at the squad and the signings we've made, I'm certainly looking pretty confident. So most of the work in terms of ins, you will actually already be aware of. But there is one more in and out potentially happening in the next week, which we'll talk about in a minute. We've kept a couple of unusual players in for the squad this season. We've loaned out a few of the youngsters who really need to develop. So let's see what all of that means for our transfer history overall. We start with the outs. And you can see, although we bought in the 2 planned players at the start of the summer transfer window, we actually made a profit throughout June. Because we sold 2 squad players who we'd hinted would probably be going out for massive money. Actually, the one I didn't expect to got the most money, despite being more experienced, have less development, and probably be less quality now, to be honest. But we got 22 million for Terry Clark and 26 million for Marco Cordes. So let's start with Clark, because I would probably have liked to have kept him, to be honest, but he had 1 year left on his contract. He wouldn't sign a new deal. And for the money that we were getting offered, it's ridiculous, really. He's a very good player. He's going to be a solid Premier League one for years, and he's gone to Leeds and will be good for them. And you can see he's worth more money, but to be fair to him, he's earning more than any of our squad is earning. He's going to be playing Premier League football. He's going to be a star player at the club he's gone to. I really don't blame him for going. So fair play to him. He's going to be a massive star, and hopefully he can start starring for Ireland as well. But Terry Clark, we thank him for his service, as is the case for Marco Cordes, who that first or second Premier League season he came in, wasn't it? He was a really important influence into the squad. He's a great personality. He's a good player, but he's not fit enough. He got a lot of injuries, and for a backup player, that's not really what we need. So again, he's going to be a Premier League footballer. He goes off to Sheffield United at 26. Hopefully can get into some form and enjoy the peak of his career. But despite playing 77 games for us, he just wasn't fit often enough, and therefore missed out on Europa League games and those where he could have made an impact for the squad. And with his natural fitness, he's not quite up there for us. So for a combined £48 million, selling those 2 is good business on my front, especially considering our 2 replacements were just 32 million. So let's go and look at the rest of the work this summer. Only one more player has come in. We've got a lot of outs to talk about as well. So before I show you all of those ones, I should quickly mention that, of course, Tammy Abraham decided to retire. He was with us last season on a one-year deal, has now become an assistant manager, but is nowhere near the quality we can employ. But did score some crucial goals from us, so have to remember him fondly. And he did the job we asked over a one-year period, so fair play to the lad. Let's move back to the rest of the outs this year though. Tommy Howes, as was pre-planned, left for Dundee United on a free. He's actually developed into a good little player, but doesn't fit our tactic and isn't quite Premier League level. Josh Berry was an important part of the squad last season, good utility man. He goes to Aston Villa, who are in the Championship, or certainly were last season. Are they still there? They are. Their manager, hang on a minute. Their manager Simon Sluga, the former Luton keeper. What on earth has led to that set of circumstances? Played at West Ham, then became manager of Preston and Aston Villa. That is sensational. But Josh Berry has gone there. I mean, he'll be a very astute Championship defender. He's been on loan a couple of times and hopefully he'll get his opportunity to get promotion. Our third choice keeper, Predrag Neskovic, he left to Reading. Again, solid player. Hopefully he'll do well. Are they in League One now or the Championship still? Championship. So I'm not sure he's ready to be a first choice Championship keeper. I'll be interested to see how he gets on there. And I'm guessing that might give away who our third signing is, or what position they are anyway. Another goalkeeper left the club, this time young Jordan Munford, who goes on loan to Rochdale. He's 19 now, he needs some football, so hopefully he'll do well there. Ben Brock goes on loan to Dartford after a season out on loan in non-league last year. Emiliano Rojas has gone to Zenit. We had 3 or 4 options for him, which we accepted all of. So there was an English club, a Scottish club, Zenit and Boca Juniors. But he accepted Zenit. And given how Terry Clark did over there and the amount he developed, that might not be a bad deal. He's got a good personality, he's two-footed, and after getting over injury, he's starting to look a good player again. So I hope he'll be ready for the first team by next year. Alexander Mead is another young keeper. He's gone to Morecambe, where he continues to improve, particularly mentally and determination-wise. Kagiso Maya has gone to Accrington in the National League, another young fullback who did well last year. Ian Watts was the big one. Our feeder club Bromley came in for him, a League 2 club, and he just needs game time now. He's reached 18, he's developed a little bit, and I'd like to see him go there, a bit like Dolner did with Notts County, score 10, 15, 20 goals, and really start to show he can be a professional footballer, because he is unlikely to make it here in the long term, and I'd like to see him make a good career for himself. The same goes for the last two as well. Gareth Jones has gone to National League Accrington, got the potential to be a pretty decent striker, and Declan Cottrell, who made a few appearances last year, he's gone to Barnet, where he's going to get first team football. So really impressed with the outs, to be honest. Won the money for the big two, but also the fact that we've been able to get squad players on loan to good clubs, and the ones we've lost on frees will hopefully still have decent careers. But it is nothing on the 3 that we've got in. Those are the 2 big ones you already knew about, but I've got to show you because I'm excited anyway. Tyrese Ricketts, who comes from Fulham, £19.5 million. He is our replacement for Tammy Abraham, and he is an absolute gem. Formerly a wonder kid. At 21 years of age, he scores goals for Jamaica, scored goals for Fulham last season, 8 of them in 30 games for the league's worst side. That's not bad going at all. He's electric, and in the Europa League group stages, I could easily see him being top goal scorer. He's a good finisher, he's got everything that's pretty solid, and then those exceptional physical stats. If we do ever need to play with wingers, he can do that as well. But my word, with the potential he's got, he could become the best striker at the club. I sort of see him, attribute-wise, as the Premier League version of Ricky J. Jones. Hopefully I'm proven right. Alongside him is one we can get excited about for other reasons, and that is Louise. He is the reason, as well as De Vitter's return from loan, that both Clark and Cordes have left the club. Because Louise, for £12 million, from our favourite scouting ground, which is South America, has come in as an 18-year-old Brazilian centre midfielder. Now, 5-star potential, 2-footed, 18, which means he'll become homegrown at the club, on less than 30 grand a week, worth 5 or 6 times the money we've bought him for, and already first team competent. Someone we have to get football in the Europa League, in the Cups, off the bench where possible. He's got a great personality, he's training really well. He's already played 84 senior games. This is someone who can become a world beater if he's given the time, the trust and the opportunity. Though he doesn't look the most rounded player at the moment, I am very excited for the prospects of this kid, and you'll see a little bit of him later in today's episode too. So they're the two first team additions. We did also get a third choice goalkeeper, Matthew Lindsay, found by our director of football. Give him a quick shout out. Solid, pretty similar to Neskovic, but he's just there in emergency case. That's all it is. It allowed us to loan the young goalkeepers out and Neskovic to move on. Where Neskovic wanted 10 grand a week to stay, this guy is on 4.4. So really happy with the summer work we've done. Really pleased that the first teamers were planned actually before the end of last season. The big ones left the club before the end of June. So we've actually had the whole pre-season to focus on the pitch. That's allowed me to do more of the management of friendly matches, more of the sort of tactical work involved in the training schedules and that sort of stuff. And I hope that's going to benefit us in the long term this season, especially once things settle down. When you consider last summer going into Europe for the first time, we had 9-10 players coming in. We started so slowly. We're in the relegation zone after 6 or 7 games, weren't we? Whereas here, I think we've got the opportunity to start fast. Not that the schedule helps us, because if we have a look, our first 2 Premier League games, after this one in a Community Shield against United, are Liverpool and City. So we play 3 of the top 4. I think we play, including United in a Community Shield, all of the top 5 sides from last season's Premier League in our first 6 games. What we really need to do is just stay in touch, because then October, November can be a massive run. And in December, the likes of Chelsea and United back to back. The Premier League's never easy, is it? But we've got to beat these sides if we want to get somewhere this year. We start today against Manchester United. Things are looking all right at the moment. The dynamics are great. The people in the club are excellent. There's a couple that are wanting to go. And that might yet be happening next week. Because if we have a look at the pending transfers, Jose Luis Maya has been delayed for a week to leave to Lille for £14 million. Now, the reason he's going over anyone else is because he's a bit slower than the other defenders. And he's been the most unhappy at not playing football. So for someone that we signed for a lot less money, 1.9 million, who contributed really well to this club, it gives him a chance to move on. I didn't want him to sit and be a 5th choice defender. So for 14 million quid, he'll get football. And instead, we'll keep Harry Thornley, who will then become our 5th choice, because he's not worth as much or on as much money. If we go and have a look at the ins though, the reason that Maya can leave, despite the fact Josh Berry's already gone, is because this guy popped up in our scout reports. £22.5 million. Ignacio Jura, 34 grand a week from Porto. Wonder kid centre half. 3-star ability. Absolute star. Good jumping reach. 6 foot tall. Great in a tackle. Good positionally. I like him. And he's definitely going to be a strong part of our squad. He's already an under-21 international for Spain. Slight doubt on natural fitness. Slight doubt in his report about the fact that he struggles socially. But we'll get that working. We've talked about how we can do that before. And then the other one that's come back is Rodrigo de Vita, who's developed, is now officially a wonder kid. Great centre-half, great holding midfielder, great centre midfielder. I think we've got everything. I don't think we're going to challenge for the Premier League this year, but I'd expect us to be in that top 6 and in the European qualification places in the league. Bar last season's top 5, I don't think anyone's stronger than us. Our only struggle is if all of them, Chelsea and Spurs, have a great year at the same time, which hasn't traditionally happened. And I'd like to see us win something again. Maybe it can be the Europa League. So let's go and get into the first fixture of the season. It is the Community Shield final at Wembley, where we lost last year. Still our only defeat at Wembley in 13 years. If we have a look at the Premier League, the pre-season preview, we are expected to be 12th. And I don't really know why, because we're as good as some of those sides above us. Spurs keep getting ranked highly. Leicester as well. They haven't really done much for years. So let's go and get through to the fixture. It's not going to be our first 11 because I want to play everyone with a light match load and make sure we're really ready for next week. So we've got people to close down, which of course we're going to do. You can see the assistant wants 10 changes. That's how far off the first 11 I'm going. We've got 90,000 at Wembley and this is the team we're going for. But it's not the tactic we're going to employ because I'm experimenting today a little bit. You can see what we've done. The 11 that start have all got a light match load. There's a few on the bench with medium ones. And then off the squad, we've got people with heavy match loads that have had knocks. and more so the ones that really struggled for fitness towards the end of last year because they were playing international football abroad, particularly down in South America like Moreira and Ricker. Chauvin was one that always struggled, C Striker too. So I'm trying to look after these lads. We're giving the backup keeper a go, and then we're going for what we've got available after that. So in goal today, Josh Hayes will get his run out. Danilo Jose, one of those unhappy ones at right back, he wants a new deal. Peebles on the left, the returning Jovan and De Vita partner up at centre half. First time they ever will have played together back there. In fact, I don't think De Vita's been in our back 4 or 5 before. Arlan, Leacock, Coronel and Louise on debut in centre midfield. That is going to become a 4-1-3-2. We mentioned about having a more defensive-minded backup number 10. And with Louise doing that, we can play this tactic away against the big boys. That's what I want to try today. Torres is fine. He's up front alongside McNeil. And we will see Tyrese Ricketts off the bench today. He'll make his debut. Dolner and Thornley could make long-awaited returns. The rest of the squad, well, we'll choose depending on how the game's going. So that is our team for today. It's not our strongest one. But let's be honest, this is more a curtain raiser. It's a bit of fun, and it's also a chance to experiment with tactics. Let's go and get into it. The first game of the season. What do you think of the transfer work, and how will we get on here? Well, a strong side for United, and a move to a much younger team as well. A few of those old senior pros on the bench. Rashford dropping down from last season. Just Trincao, Musiala, and probably Inacio who survived now. We talk about the younger ones. Fabio Tavares is a superstar. There's quality in defence. There's a great goalkeeper behind them. This is going to get very, very tricky. So into the first half we go. We're going to ask the lads to do their best. There isn't any pressure on them here. We're underdogs. We're going to get our 4-1-3-2 tactic on. That is what we're going to look like for the rest of today. So hopefully it's good enough to get a result. Let's go and find out. Well, just 2 minutes on the clock here, and Danilo Jose's got a throw on the right as Torres gives it away with his header. Brook picks it up for United, concedes possession though to Torres, and Jose crosses towards McNeil, headed away as far as Trincao. I think McNeil is officially in the 30s now, so we have got one player over the age, as the long ball goes straight through to Tavares, hits the woodwork. Gotta say, the centre-halves don't look comfortable. Jovan spent the second half of last year in the Championship. De Vita playing in midfield. Perhaps that's why we're going to struggle a bit here. Having said that, we've got a threat going forward, and the new tactic hasn't been penetrated yet. Though the corner in, saved by Hayes brilliantly. Is it going to be another one of those days? A Hemel Hempstead Town keeper at Wembley. We've had 3 so far in this save win man of the match. Hayes could make it 4 as it's out to McNeil on the left. Gives it away to Coronel. Looks a little bit rusty, looks a little bit laboured at the minute. Not the best start to the season so far, though we have now managed our first shot on target. As we're back on the right hand side with Danilo Jose, again conceding possession with a 5-yard pass. Does seem to be a little bit of a problem at the moment, just looks a little disjointed, which you perhaps wouldn't expect with only 2 or 3 signings this summer, but maybe that's the fact we're playing a backup side. As Trincao shoots, it's a brilliant goal. Not an ideal time for it, but looking at the stats, although we haven't seen a lot of United, you would suggest that's possibly a fair result. Let's hope we can come back into it though. Young Louise has been a bit boisterous. He's on a booking already. So there might be some changes fairly early in the second half. As we go through the dressing room, again we'll give the same message. Hopefully we can keep these lads on board. As we approach the hour mark, we're back with United in a very advanced position. Tavares going right to Fabian, the right back. He's got a man inside of him in Poby, and there's Trincao. Back to Fabian on the right again. Can United get the cross in? Not yet, but they've got to the byline again. Someone's got to deliver it. It is in now. And it's a great block by De Vita in the end. He's doing a good job back there at centre-half. But I think we're seeing that our backup defence, if all 4 of them have to play, perhaps not quite good enough. And maybe that's where the new signing contributes. As Musiala on the right, inside to Pobby. Out wide to Trincao on the left. Brings it down well. Back to the edge of the box. United keeping the pressure on. They're playing really well here. Brook. Into the box to Trincao again. Chance to deliver. Jose stands him up. Wins it back well. Arlan clears away. And with an hour gone, I think we're going to make changes. Although we don't even get the break. We're straight back with the throw. And you all know my superstition. As Brook on the left-hand side. Keeps it for United. It's delivered to the back post. Trincao's shot saved. I thought he looked offside, to be honest. But in the end, it's a corner given. Josh Hayes doing a wonderful job. And, as you can see, is our best performer again. Inacio's header tipped over by Hayes again. Absolutely stunning goalkeeping. I just hope that the subs we make can strengthen the team, as it's in again. Jovan heads away. And this time, surely the pressure ends. Let's go and make some subs, because you can see from the stats, we are getting pasted. We are going back to our traditional tactic. 5 changes made. Peebles, Torres, McNeil, Louise and Coronel off. On come, Ricketts for debut. Jason Dolner for the first time in Lord knows how many years. Carlos Martin as we go back to the number 10. And Du and Delgado. When was the last time Dolner played? First Premier League season, 3 appearances, 2 of them off the bench. Now he's got a chance to star at Wembley. Let's see if he can do so. Well, we're approaching the final 15 minutes. It's not made a difference yet, and Leacock is absolutely knackered. So Arlan goes into midfield. Egan will come on as the holding midfielder. It's one last chance. Egan gives us an extra set piece threat, but at the moment, it doesn't look like doing much. So we're going to encourage the lads as United are back with a throw. Oliveira into Musiala. Plays a 1-2. It's into the box. Delivered towards Trincao, who should get there first. And it's wide to Fabian. Back to Trincao again. Just wide. That out to in shot has worked so many times today. But let's go positive. Let's go attacking. There's 2 minutes plus stoppage time. It's progress from last year where we lost 3-0 with a stronger 11 than this. But unfortunately, for the second year in a row, we're going to watch Manchester United lift the Community Shield. Hey, if it works out like last year, they can lift the Community Shield and then we'll beat them in an FA Cup final. We'll certainly take that if that's what's going to happen now. But Manchester United lift the first trophy of the season, and that's one of the domestic cup opportunities gone. Not the main one for us, but Manchester United are champions. Let's go ahead and look at the schedule, see when we're next going to be back. Well, mixed news there. Of course we lost. Of course we were battered. But we've had a really good summer, and I'm confident, having saved most of our first team, it will benefit us next week. Louise and Ricketts made debuts. Torres will end his goal drought because we'll have that chat with him before the next game. So let's go and have a look at the schedule, because basically the first 2 games are a free hit. We've got Liverpool and we've got Manchester City. Then what we're going to do is come back for transfer deadline day, just in case there's anything, and Crystal Palace on the 2nd of September, which has been moved for TV. We of course then should have our Europa League group stage draw in between. We should have the 3rd round Carabao Cup draw, and we'll get to see all of that before we head into another season of games coming thick and fast and a big young squad being tested. But they're developing, the signs are good, and we were a little better than last year's final. So if you did enjoy this episode, a narrow defeat but an important summer in the transfer window, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you think of the squad. Let me know what you think of the minimalist transfer window and the young centre-half that could be coming in. And have I made the right decision to sacrifice some of the older players like Thornley and that to stay and make the big money on the ones that won't make it? Let me know what you think of that. If you want to stay up to date and see how this season goes, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. Potentially the final ever episode of The Head Coach tomorrow. You can see yesterday's up in the eye above. Then we'll have a new save later in the week. Keep your eyes peeled for what that might be. There's also links up in the eye above to the Twitch channel, the football podcast and the merchandise store too. But above my head now is yesterday's head coach video. Come and join us for the finale tomorrow. And then we'll be back here in 2 days' time for deadline day and Premier League action. I'll see you there.